Well, welcome back to Brands Hatch. You'll see the circuit is completely dry now. We're already well onto the green flag lap for the championship decider of the Clio Cup GB here. The grid will be as follows. 55 Ben Colburn on pole position. He'll be looking to make amends for race 1 that ended in the gravel trap. Alongside him, number 17, Nicky Taylor. He's looking to finish this round by securing the championship. Second row, 22 Dara Flock and 21 James Colburn. 57 Ainsley Bird and 71 Harvey Ryby, the 18-year-old, on row 3. And on the 4th row, 99 Ben Jenkins. So that is the grid for this. Race 1, Dara Flock did a fantastic job to take the victory, and quite comfortably in the end. And he'll be hoping that he can do exactly the same. He's the one that's probably the closest to be able to take this championship. But Nicky Taylor is in a fairly commanding position. I think that the reality is that Dara Flock needs to win, and I think Nicky Taylor needs to be a long way down to stand any chance of overturning it. They're in their place, the red lights are on, the engine notes rise, off go the lights and off go the field, and it's fairly even apart from James Colburn, number 21, got absolutely lit up there. Front 2 goes side by side already. The outside line, is that going to work? Nicky Taylor's hoping that he doesn't have Ben Colburn running too wide, and he has, and it's the switchback from Nicky Taylor, and he dives back up the inside as they get up towards Druids. But in fairness to Ben Colburn, he's still holding on to it, trying to keep him back there. And Dara Flock's trying to take advantage of this in the number 22 car. Down they go. Ben Colburn's going to have the inside line. Dara Flock's trying to take advantage of the melee that's been caused with Nicky Taylor, and side by side for the first 2 in the championship standings, but for second and third at the moment.
It is indeed, with James Colburn's poor start. He's made up quite well, and he's well and truly up there with the leaders. Keep an eye on Harvey as well, because he's really starting to close in, isn't he, Harvey Ryby? He's not far away at all. But for the moment, Nicky Taylor, he's all over the coattails of Dara Flock. He's trying to find the room. He needs to finish third, arguably, in this one. At the moment, we're going to be 3 wide into turn 1.
Yeah, they are. Just had to turn around. I'm getting caught up in my cable here. But the front 3 are just literally all around each other. Up to 4th has gone Ryby, isn't it? Yeah, the 71 car up into 4th. A cracking performance from the 18-year-old this weekend. But it is Dara Flock that just about has the lead at the moment. Nicky Taylor goes up into 2nd place. So gets past Ben Colburn. Now trying to hunt down his closest rival. It'd be interesting to know what he wants to do here, because he probably doesn't need to go challenging for the race lead. But these drivers, they're just going to do it anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. So Dara Flock in the lead of the race from Nicky Taylor. Ben Colburn is well and truly there. A small look to the inside once again, and we saw this in the race earlier on today. Ben just places his car where he needs to get in the head of Nicky Taylor. Nicky wanted to go to the outside of Dara, doesn't want to leave himself vulnerable to Ben Colburn on the run in towards Paddock Hill Bend, so everything remains as it is for the moment, and we're starting to see now Ben Jenkins, having gone onto the slick tyres after running in wets in race 1 that we found out, he's well and truly got the pace in the dry, hasn't he?
Without question, very, very impressive. The interesting thing here, don't forget, is because we had the red flag, the race was only 18 minutes long last time. They've got to go the full 20 this time, but they'll go like prize fighters for the entire duration of this race. We know it.
Yeah, they will indeed. I was just looking at what was left of the grass on the run into, or on the run out of Graham Hill Bend, where Ben Colburn made the mistake, and I'd imagine with it being effectively a dry circuit, the margins for error have widened very slightly, but at the moment those top 3 absolutely together. And if you are Nicky Taylor in this situation, obviously you want to be in the lead, but if Ben Colburn does get past you, it's not going to be the end of the world. He's so late on the brakes, has another look up the inside, but he's got 2 LDR performance cars behind him, and Nicky Taylor is confident enough that he can fend off the attentions of most, if not all, behind. And if Ben Colburn is still there, he's going to be doing all right in 2nd place, isn't he? He needs to finish 3rd to guarantee it. 2nd will be more than enough.
It will, but he's getting really harassed there, isn't he, from Ben Colburn? That little sort of bump drafting as they went round the hairpin at the top of the hill there. Not really a place that you'd want to be bump drafting, but Ben Colburn's just trying to muscle his way up and through, doing as much as he possibly can to give Dara Flock the opportunity. Dara's doing all he needs to do, isn't he? He's leading the race. He's not in control of what happens behind him, but he needs to make sure he's doing his part.
He is indeed, but Nicky Taylor with the fastest lap of the race. That may be due to change this time through. Previously it was a 55.074. As they go through and break the beam, it shuffles right the way down to Ben Jenkins on a 54.497. The top 5 remain as they were. All of a sudden, Harvey Ryby, we knew he was there or thereabouts, but now he's challenging for a podium spot, isn't he?
He is, absolutely, and we need to be aware of the 5th place car of Jenkins, 99. We said that he was going to be a lot quicker, and he's actually challenging Ryby, and he got the fastest lap of the race last time round. I mean, it's just really now 5, and you've still only got James Colburn, the 6th place one, who's not out of this completely yet.
No, not at all. It's brilliant to see all 5 of them absolutely together. And then you've got, as you say, James Colburn not that far away at all. Dara, he can afford to take his usual lines, his comfortable lines, whereas Nicky might have to worry about attacking but also defending from Ben Colburn as well. On towards the start-finish straight. Ben Colburn's got a good run coming out of the final corner as they go along the Brabham straight, break the beam once again to go onto what will be lap number 6. The fastest lap remains with, no, he doesn't. It goes down now to James Colburn with a 54.452, so he is closing in. It's going to be 6 for the lead.
Love it. That's exactly what we want. What a way to be rounding out this championship fight in 2024, the inaugural year of this particular championship. And we keep saying it only takes a couple of cars to race. Well, we got 6 that are absolutely duking it out incredibly. At the moment, our race leader, Dara Flock's managed to put a minor gap, but we've seen it's the proverbial piece of elastic that stretches and then disappears with a twang.
Yeah, and all of a sudden now, Harvey Ryby is really starting to apply the pressure onto Ben Colburn, and visually you can see the gap between Ben Colburn and Nicky Taylor was opening up, but all of a sudden Harvey Ryby, maybe a missed gear or whatever it may have been, that has dropped him away. Ben Jenkins is now going to look to the outside. That releases Ben Colburn back onto the coattails of Nicky Taylor. Harvey late on the brakes. He's really got to grips with this Renault Clio. I've got a feeling we might see a bit more of him.
Yeah, I think there was quite a lot of excitement about him coming in, wasn't there? And a lot of potential, and I can see why now they can see that. It's let's hope that he's able to keep going with this race and he doesn't get stopped by things like budget or whatever else. And we'll see how high he can go. The front 3 have made a mini breakaway. It's not a full breakaway, but the front 3 have slightly pulled away from the next 3s, but still within distance. And Nicky Taylor's got a good run in towards McLaren, but not quite able to take advantage of it there, and it compromised him when he goes into clearways, and that's when he's then sat a little bit vulnerable to Ben Colburn behind him, isn't it?
It is indeed, and Nicky Taylor, he is really pushing on now. He's in that weird bit where he wants to go forward past Dara, but Dara wants to run away, but also doesn't want to focus too much on the windscreen, because Nicky Taylor will start to close in, and he is doing now on the run up the hill towards Druids. Nicky has a small look to the outside, doesn't leave himself vulnerable. Now Ben Jenkins dives his way up the inside of Harvey Ryby and does just about get through. So Ben Jenkins up into 4th place, Harvey Ryby down into 5th. Now he can fight away with James Colburn behind, but the top 3 remain as they are. There's not been much shuffling there. Everybody behind is all shuffling about. It's those top 3, they are glued together, but they just can't swap places, can they?
Well, the interesting thing there was that Ryby was actually originally making a challenge on Ben Colburn, and you saw that it compromised him. Oh, there's a little bit of contact between Jenkins and the rear corner of Ben Colburn there, but they got away with that. But it goes back to the phrase I keep using, darned if you do, darned if you don't, and Ryby lost out this time, and I think there's a reason why Nicky Taylor's not doing anything too risky here. He's not going to stop himself if the momentum carries him somewhere, but he's not going to do anything daft because he's sat 1 place higher than he needs to at the moment anyway. And let's be honest, this will be the sweet way to end it for him.
Yeah, and he knows Ben Jenkins is closing in on Ben Colburn, so that extra pressure that Ben Colburn will be getting, he is more than aware that that could just be enough to draw Ben Colburn away from him, and he can focus his attentions onto Dara Flock and trying to take the lead away. That, like you say, that proverbial elastic band, it really is working, isn't it? Because they really started to open up come the end of the Cooper Straight. All of a sudden, Nicky Taylor was right on Dara Flock, but it begins to stretch again. Come the end of the Brabham Straight, you watch Nicky Taylor will be with Dara.
Yeah, I mean, it really is down the Cooper Straight in towards Surtees and McLaren is that Nicky Taylor is incredibly strong, but he's suddenly got nowhere to go because Dara Flock's in front of him. No group gap alongside him, so then suddenly he's compromised into and through Clearways and Clark Curve, which then leaves the opportunity for Ben Colburn to come back at him. But at the moment, he's just happy keeping this status quo what he needs to be mindful of is that the two cars behind him in particular are so close that if he went to start losing one, he could lose 2 places. Then he's too far down the order to be able to secure the championship.
Absolutely. So Nicky Taylor still managing to hold on to second place for the moment, really applying that pressure onto Dara, who's soaking it up like a sponge at this stage in the race. We've still got just under 11 minutes of this race to go. Ben Colburn will be feeling the pressure from Ben Jenkins. Ben Jenkins has somewhat gapped Harvey Ryby, just sat behind, who's dealing with James Colburn's attentions. But the top 4 over the line absolutely together. Dara Flock again just placing the car in the middle of the road, leaving Nicky Taylor very little to do by way of options of getting past. He hasn't really got that opportunity afforded to him. For me, Nicky has either got to make it heading out of Graham Hill Bend or on the run up towards Druids. That's where we know he's strong.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. It really is. I mean, we're constantly trading blows on fastest laps of the race. They're all together there, and it's just the whole jeopardy thing, isn't it, really? Double jeopardy, and not really sure what's the best thing for him to do. Well, the reality is he's perfectly happy where he is. Let everyone else fight around him, but what he will not like seeing is 4 cars now completely glued to the back of him, that he cannot afford to lose more than 1 place there. And therefore, what he's better to do is just to make sure. But I've got to applaud him, because what he's not doing is driving defensively to keep those behind him. His line of defence is attack.
Yeah, and Ben Colburn's gone so late on the brakes. He's looking all the way around the outside of Nicky Taylor. It didn't work for him. Nicky held the apex, and that's actually given him a brilliant run up the hill. He doesn't want to be drawn to the outside and left vulnerable now to Ben Colburn, who gives him a bit of a shove on the run into the braking zone at Druids. But Nicky Taylor remains in front of Ben Colburn for now. Dara Flock will be watching this all unfold in his rear-view mirror and be hoping that something goes his way to buy him some breathing room. But Nicky Taylor isn't abiding by that, and now he's all of a sudden right on the rear bumper of Dara Flock once again. As you say, you can really see where Nicky is slightly quicker but also slightly slower than Dara Flock. They are absolutely glued together. Anybody who think there's a tow rope between all of them?
It's just ridiculous. It is so good to see all 6 of them here. It is a constant snake that is going around this Indy circuit here at Brands Hatch, isn't it? Now we've got Colburn looking towards the inside. This is the move. Surely he's going to be a bit tight there. Yes, he is. Further back is that we got Ryby nearly looked up the inside of the 99 car of Jenkins, but wasn't quite on. And you look how that unsettles the whole mix, and James Colburn's up the inside of Ryby.
He is indeed. Nicky Taylor had a brilliant run up the hill. He thought about going to the outside of Dara Flock, but decided discretion is the better part of valour and isn't going to go for it just as of yet. But it was that little look which again might just unsettle Dara over the next couple of laps, knowing that Nicky is well and truly there. And as you say, Ben Colburn, he went for quite an optimistic move. It didn't pay off in this instance, which cost him a load of time, and Ben Jenkins was with him. But more importantly, the top 2 had worked away at the start of this lap. We're absolutely together. You would think all of these cars are tied together, wouldn't you?
100%, and I mean, it's trying to work out where's a safe place to launch any challenge. You made the comment earlier is that Nicky Taylor doesn't necessarily want to go high, wide and handsome, as the legendary Brian Jones used to say, because he's then vulnerable on the inside line. But if he goes tight, you just saw Ben Colburn trying to make a move up the inside. It's too tight and he loses the momentum heading back up the hill towards Druid. So it's a really challenging. So frankly, what it looks to me that Nicky's doing is just keeping that momentum up as much as he can. And the only time we're seeing him move off the racing line is not necessarily to make a full-on lunge at this stage, but to allow himself to continue carrying that as much of that momentum through as possible. That's his most challenging stage at the moment, is through that McLaren to clearways, because he is quick going into it, compromised by Dara Flock being a little bit slower than him in that section, that then loses his momentum by the time he gets towards clearways and Clark Curve.
Yeah, he did go slightly defensive that time. Ben Colburn has clearly been in the wars. I'm guessing that was with Nicky Taylor, because his right-hand wing mirror is just effectively a passenger at this point. It's hanging on by the proverbial thread up through Druid's corner, and Dara Flock washes slightly wide, but Nicky Taylor still continues on. It was just that little look up the inside that forced Dara to go slightly defensive, which did push him wide of the apex. And we are running out of time with 6.5 minutes to go. Nicky Taylor, he's running out of options, but he doesn't need to use those options.
No, exactly. And that said, is that in its own right, that's got to be a tricky situation for him, because racing drivers want to race, and he's got to be fighting every potential urge there to keep this clean and useful. It looks as though James Colburn's going to get up the inside of Jenkins, possibly taking Ryby with him as they go in towards Paddock Hill Bend. Yep. 2 places lost there for Jenkins, whereas James Colburn and Ryby both got past him up into 4th and 5th, and that's a good run from the second place, Nicky Taylor.
Yeah, Nicky Taylor was quite literally pushing Dara up the hill there. Ben Colburn, optimistic move around the outside, couldn't quite get the door open, but now it's really starting. You could tell the body language of the cars. They know the time is running out. They are starting to push a bit harder. It's effectively 2 threes with that small gap in between Ben Colburn and James Colburn, but more importantly for Ben Colburn, he can ignore his rearview mirror. It's James Colburn. They might have had a conversation before this race saying, if you're there, just leave me to it. Ben Colburn quite literally now pushing Nicky Taylor through the final corner onto the Brabham Straight once again. The biggest gap we've seen so far between Dara Flock and Ben Colburn. What can Nicky Taylor do on the brakes on the run in towards turn 1? Ben, a small look to the inside. James defending effectively from Harvey Ryby, and all of a sudden Nicky Taylor is straight back there with Dara Flock. He just cannot do anything to extend that lead margin, can he?
He can't, and there was a general consensus that actually that might not be what we had assumed would happen, is that James Colburn would launch a challenge on Ben, which is interesting to get some inside knowledge on there, that sibling rivalry does run strong, so very interesting. What an amazing advert for this championship this race is. It's just absolutely epic that most people would be coming out of this with the biggest smile on their face ever, just from the amount of action they're going to be involved in.
Absolutely. Ben Jenkins takes a slightly wider line at the back of this train to try and better his run on towards the start-finish straight. Dara Flock again with a good lead, but Nicky Taylor reels him back in once again on the brakes. What can Ben Colburn do? Is he going to remain where he is? Is he going to have a look to the inside? It's a half look. James Colburn again, just a half look as Harvey Ryby is well and truly there. This is going to go down to the wire. There's 4 minutes left of the Clio Cup GB 2024 Championship, and we've still got no idea what the championship is going to look like. Nicky Taylor is really starting to soak up the pressure. We've already been to Brands Hatch, Anglesey, Snetterton, Donington Park, Alton Park, and we're rounding it out here at Brands Hatch. And this is by far and away one of the closest races we've seen all year. It's
absolutely incredible. The officials are going to be glued to absolutely everything these drivers are doing, because don't forget is that if a team order could be that Ben Colburn just taps Nicky Taylor and takes him out of the race, Dara Flock wins, he's won the championship. They're in the same team, Westbourne Motorsport. But they can't do that because they know that they'll be watching like hawks downstairs in the officials' office.
Yeah, absolutely. Nicky Taylor really got close there, and there's contact between Ben Colburn and Nicky Taylor. Ben Colburn goes off and out of this race, out of the championship after a couple of poor rounds. So that is Ben Colburn off and into retirement. I'm afraid the final 3 races of his season absolutely haven't gone his way. Nicky Taylor took that punch very well indeed. The car is still tracking straight and true, and he's really starting to apply the pressure onto Dara Flock. He's got rid of one Colburn, and he's got another immediately back in his rearview mirror.
Yeah, and I'm just staying glued to that left rear corner to make sure, because Ben Colburn just sort of didn't manage to get that car stopped, did he? James Colburn's looking up the inside there. No, he settles back into 3rd position. But I think, luckily for Nicky Taylor, is that ram to the rear has not damaged the corner and not set anything out of tracking. Now, even if it's just enough to hold on to that 2nd, even 3rd, as we know that he could drop down to, but I've got to be honest and say, it doesn't look like it's affected his speed at all.
No, and Dara Flock hasn't got the fastest lap of the race either. So that's another point that he will be missing out on. But Nicky Taylor in 2nd place with 2 minutes to go. The yellow flags meaning that we may see some slightly slower laps, only by a second or so. Of course, no overtaking into turn 1, which is one of the prime overtaking opportunities. What's James Colburn going to do? We know he likes a look up the inside here in towards the final corner. Is he going to give it a go again? No, not that time. So Nicky Taylor remains where he is in 2nd place. James Colburn the same for 3rd. All of a sudden, Harvey Ryby is trying to get onto the final podium of the year. Dara Flock, Nicky Taylor, James Colburn, Harvey Ryby, and Ben Jenkins, your top 5 coming towards the line. Still with a minute and a half to go. We could squeeze out 2 more laps from this one. On the brakes in towards turn 1, they remain as they are. Nicky Taylor, he's just got to get this car home now, hasn't he?
Yeah, I was just trying to look through the binoculars because I hadn't really seen Ben Colburn get out of the car.
No,
but
he
I
is.
assume
Yes.
he has.
Yes, he has got out.
But it's not who I thought was back there because that's a photographer. But I was just trying to make sure. But I'm sure he has, and I just missed it and moved himself out of harm's way. It hasn't unsettled. Quite often you see that it, sorry, I nearly got in your way there looking, is it sort of explodes the great battle apart, doesn't it? And it's not managed to do that at all with these 5.
No, James Colburn, he's having a half look to the inside, really applying that pressure onto Nicky Taylor now. Double waved yellows, make that single waved yellows down at turn 1, so the yellow flags remain out.
They've gone.
No, they have been withdrawn.
Brilliant.
So onto the final lap of the race, we are going to be racing in towards turn 1. Harvey Ryby so quick on the uptake, he's starting to apply the pressure onto James Colburn. The final lap of the 2024 Clio Cup GB Championship is going to decide the championship. What is going to happen here? Is it going to be Dara Flock? Is it going to be Nicky Taylor? Nicky's driven the perfect race.
I 100% agree. I mean, even to the point where he's not been tempted to go excessively aggressive or excessively going for a win. I mean, he is having a little sneaky snifter down the Cooper Straight. He's been forced to go the other side. Dara Flock's sort of like covered that one off, and he's just as well to try and just carry the momentum through as much as possible and keep James Colburn behind him. He's done that at the moment. He's now going to power it away, and it's going to be a fabulous victory for Dara Flock, doing all he can with the double win here at Brands Hatch, but it's going to be the championship win for Nicky Taylor. What an incredible race yet again.
Yeah, Nicky Taylor over the line. He's going to be celebrating with the Graves Motorsport team, I am sure, throughout the early numbers of the morning, I would imagine. Very, very well deserved. He had a brilliant round at Snetterton, a brilliant round at Donington Park as well, capitalised exactly when he could. But 9 times out of 10, he finishes the races without a single scratch on the car as well, which just writes the story of a very quick, very sort of action-packed race, but also he's got so much potential for the future because he looks after the car, but he's very quick whilst doing it.
Genuinely, you've got to say across the board, all 6 of those that were fighting that out were absolutely outstanding. It was only that one tiny little mistake from Ben that put him out. Just missed his breaking point by
Nicky Taylor really got close there, and there's contact between Ben Colburn and Nicky Taylor. Nicky Taylor really got close there.
It was so enjoyable to watch. Dara Flock doing a fabulous job there to take the victory, and Nicky Taylor, it wasn't a defensive drive, it was an offensively defensive drive, if that makes sense. It was just wonderful to watch there, and Ben and James Colburn were putting all the pressure. Ryby, the young 18-year-old, was just amazing there, and Jenkins doing a good job just behind them as well. So awesome to watch the Clio Cup Great Britain entertaining us there, and it's only going to get even bigger and better as the numbers grow, as the increasing cars available. So well done to them. Jack Werrell's making his way down to grab interviews with whoever he can speak to, frankly, and there is Dara Flock. At the end of the day, Dara got here knowing I need to win both these races. He's done exactly that. Fine, what's happened around him hasn't gone to plan, but he can have no regrets. He's done everything he needed to do, and he's managed to get that the double race victory. So there it is, Dara Flock with the win in car number 22. Nicky Taylor, your 2024 champion, provisionally at least, number 17 in second. Third was James Colburn. Fourth, number 71, Harvey Ryby. And Ben Jenkins, number 99 in fifth. Sixth was 57, Ainsley Bird. And of course, Ben Colburn in the gravel, number 55. So brilliant entertainment. The mixture of relief and delight there, and understandably fully delighted with that one. I'm sure there's a bit of emotion in there that gutted that didn't go his way around after doing everything he needed. Jack Werrell, down to you, mate.
Yeah, Nicky Taylor, you can hear the outpour of emotion from the Graves Motorsport team and the Taylor family. Very, very impressed. And yeah, he was just sat in his car for a moment, just taking in what has happened, taking in this season and what he and the Graves Motorsport team have achieved. So he's just taking the photo for the media. Whilst that is going on, I'll grab a word with Dara. You did absolutely everything in that race. Defending from start to finish, Dara. You've got so much to be proud of for this year, or are you going to see you back?
Yeah, I tried everything. I did all I could this weekend, so you know, it's congratulations to Nicky for winning the championship. It was a good fight all year, so close, but well done. And also, I'd like to thank the team. You know, they've given me a good car this year. They've really been really supportive, so thanks to them.
Are we going to see you back next year?
Hopefully, I'll see. But I've got some other plans, so let's see what we can do.
Great stuff. Massive congratulations, Dara. Best of luck for the future. We'll grab James Colbert. James, you've had a busy old day, haven't you? You've had so much to do. You've been attacking, defending, and in that final race, we honestly thought you were going to take the second step of the podium. The body language of the car shows you got the pace. Surely we've got to see you back next year.
Yeah, no, it was fantastic. Obviously, car was set up fantastically well. Nicest way, giving 70 kilos away to these boys up front. So, unfortunately, a straight line, it's not my way. Unfortunately, I can't get through on that part of you, but through the corners, the car was phenomenal. And Westbourne Motorsport, again, fantastic car setup. I was gaining every single corner on the guys. I just couldn't. Unfortunately, came to a straight, and it was like a case of, I'll see you at the next one.
Are we going to see you back next year, surely, or have you got some other racing plans?
No, the nicest way, it's we've got obviously a team to run first. If we can get 3 customers in, that'd be even better for us. I've myself been doing historics mainly recently, which is a whole lot of fun. And I'm probably a bit old, and I've got a young boy now who's 2, so he'll go racing at some point. Sorry, Rebecca. But no, it's we'll get there. Like, hey, team comes first. We get customers come in. The pace we've proved today, the 2 was with Dara, fantastic job by him. I've had 2 podiums as well, so hopefully we'll see what next year brings.
Great stuff. We'll look forward to it. Congratulations, James. We've now got to grab him. Nicky Taylor, congratulations. Clio Cup GB 2024 champion. Talk us through how you feel, if you can.
Yeah, I don't really know. I haven't really achieved that much so far in racing. I've got a few wins here and there, but yeah, to get it over the line is major. And I knew once Dara got out ahead, I knew all I had to do was just stay behind and just, even if Ben got past, just try and keep behind him, because I knew I was fully aware of the points of a third would have been good enough. And I'm pretty sure with Dara being out in the lead, he wasn't going to get fast laps, so I knew 4th would have been fine as well. But yeah, that was a hard one.
And you've had the brilliant backing of Graves throughout all of this year. Surely we've got to see you back next year. We've got to defend that title, no?
Possibly. Might do Europe. Hopefully, see if we can beat Torelli and see if we can bring it to Europe and see how that goes. But yeah, if we are back here, we'll be back here to win and nothing else.
Great stuff. Fingers crossed we'll see you there.
Thank you. Cheers.
Brilliant work there from Nicky Taylor, your 2024 Clio Cup GB champion.